just to be able to make the sleeve, right? And it takes time. This is the gather at the bottom. The gather at the bottom probably has like 20 shirts. 20, it's all gathered together. It doesn't look like many shirts, but they're all gathered together and to create like what you see like here, for example. You know, this is the back. So it's a lot of work to take apart, like, you know, to make, you know, it would have been so much easier for us to just take this and make it out of a fabric that we bought, just because it's less stitches, it's less work, you know, less construction or whatever. So I think the prices just reflect the time, you know. It probably takes us like a week to make this dress or more. So,
I mean, from beginning to end, it's
a labor, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely like down to sourcing,
yeah,
taking it apart, putting it back together, creating the pattern in-house, designing everything, being able to experiment. So everything takes a lot of time, and it's definitely unconventional. So
yeah, do you guys like make a new pattern every time you're gonna make a new garment?
No, like this one, for example, like, so when we work with traditional, like ready to wear, like, how do you say this, like systems, right? So they have a pattern, right? From this pattern, once I make this one pattern for this dress, I have this pattern available to then grade it up or grade it down. So I can basically make this pattern in whatever size I want, up or down, but I already made the design style, the design lines, and everything is already in the pattern. So I'll save this pattern. If somebody orders that dress, all I'm doing is basically getting their measurements and tweaking it so it can fit them just a little bit, you know? So every pattern is kept. So if you order something from us, for example, we keep your pattern in file with your size. So if you come back, like, you know, next year, you say, there's a wedding, can you guys make me a dress? Let's talk about something. Then I still have that the pattern there, and I have your size, so then I could just always make things for you, you know? That's kind of like how it works.
And I also think it's important to know, going back to why we're here in the Dominican Republic, I think it's also important to note that aside from Edgar going to school and for us to just, you know, it made more sense for us to do everything that we're doing here, because it would be very different doing it in the States based on, like, you know, our unconventional process works here for us. But it's also important to note that sometimes, like, your skills and what you bring to the table can be valuable in one place, but even more valuable elsewhere. Because I feel like just alone us staying true to our dreams and being authentic to ourselves and sticking to our guns, a lot of people have been, like, a lot of the youth here has been inspired by what we do and come to us for advice and come to us to talk about, you know, like our process or anything, like just life. And to be able to do that is really special, because sometimes that was it. Yeah, that was all jeans that we had.
Yeah, so this is a cool one. So this is like, I'll show you guys the beginning, because I'm looking through this stuff too and saying, oh, this is pretty cool. So this is like some sample. We were looking at these pants. And then we started playing with it and kind of like created the base, just a traditional trucker jacket, but we kind of flipped it. This is the back of it. That's how the back looks. Yeah, but so like I said, I think the jacket then becomes like this piece that's like one of one, right? It can't be duplicated. It's a very the base of the pattern is a trucker jacket, but it's a very special trucker jacket, right? So I'll show you guys some Blanco bags.
Ed and Steph, can you talk about like actually some of like the very real challenges of not having like intergenerational wealth and trying to build this with absolutely nothing and just like your little hands?
Oh, you mean no sleep? Oh, nah. What can I say, yo? What do you think, Stephanie? our parents are immigrants, right? United States. I was born in Dominican Republic. Stephanie was born in Florida. But our parents come from, Brazil and Dominican Republic. So when we're in the States, we go through everything that, one goes through as an immigrant. Mom's dad got 2 jobs, you're growing up. And these neighborhoods are not necessarily like the best neighborhoods, but your parents are doing the best they can. And they're sending you to school to learn, I kind of feel like it's the transition of like, a lot of kids that I grew up with, they have parents that work 2 jobs and they did their best to send you to school. So I kind of come from that. I kind of come from that culture. And then my parents went to the United States to kind of give us a better life, right? And then now to fast forward, like we end up kind of like coming back where they weren't really expecting that. So parents could be freaking out, like, we left. Why are you coming back? So it's interesting, but in coming back, we're also coming back with these skills that we learned from like these developed, country, like nation or whatever. But in essence, we're still like very much American, right? We are. We're very much American, and we're very much like part of like something that is like we're a product of everything that our parents went through, but also everything that like being in the American system has made us. So now we come back with all these ideas and being exposed to so much and seeing how things can actually be done to then like come back to a place that maybe needs that. And we start to do these things, not knowing where it would take us, but it kind of opens up this conversation for a lot of other people to kind of join and be like also doing things and feeling like they can be part of it. Because I feel like a lot of the things, it's just about exposure. Like coming here for us has shown us that by us like saying we're going to do it, like we also create a community, and like there's a community around us that also gets empowered, and like we're all doing things. So it's not just about like TDZ here. There's so many other people that are doing incredible things, like just in our community that like help us, and they were like the first people to actually say, I like what you guys do. So it never goes like we always feel super like I guess like responsible and like honored to be able to like just have these conversations on these platforms and be able to speak to people about like, hey, we're in Dominican Republic and we are thinking like this. We are thinking sustainability. We are thinking other. We are thinking there's potential in things that other people see as waste. Like there's things like that happen here, and they are also happening around the world. It's like a movement, right?
Aria, introduce yourself. Say what's up.
Hi, I'm Aria. I'm a junior at Princeton, and I really loved some of the pictures you showed, especially the dress that was made of all men's shirts. Like the pictures that you took with the model looked like they were straight out of like a Vogue editorial. Like they were so pretty. Like I wanted to know what your process is like. Like, is that like did that person purchase the dress, or did you hire them to model the clothes? Like I'd like to hear about how you I guess a little about marketing, like how you, and also the picture of that person standing on like the wood pile. I don't know. I just really like the pictures that you take with the models. Like I would like to hear more about like that creative process.
Appreciate it.
Stephanie's like that's Stephanie's department. She's like the head honcho when it comes to that. We work together, but she's definitely like the.
So I'll say that dress actually went to someone in New York. So a lot of times the pieces that we make go elsewhere. So it's very important, since again, everything is one-on-one. We want to document everything to also be able to give people a reference point. If someone wants to order like this dress in a multicolor, they have an idea of like the range that they can work with. So that's Ruth. That's somebody that we know. She's a creative here. She's a chef. And, a lot of times when we have people like model for us, it's friends or it's people that we see in the street, or people we see online that, they come across our page and then we're like, oh, like I like this person's look. So it's really always like that. And then location is kind of just, that was our friend Mia that shot those pictures in specific. And she had actually driven by that spot and we went there and we did a few shots over there. So we're very much about our environment. We're very much about just capturing the essence of this place that inspires us so much. And it's really that, you know, it's our process of marketing and content is pretty effortless because we're in a beautiful place. We're in a place that has so much to take away from it, to see, to like be impacted by it. So, you know, it's a very like, it's kind of a seamless process because we just we just get our friends together and we just get the job done, you know, because we're surrounded by so many creative people. So it's like you know, you bring something to the table, you have your friends that bring something to the table, and then you come together and you like amplify something. So that's generally like how we see it.
Yeah, I think I will also say that, you know, there's this, I don't know if you guys ever heard of this lady. Her name is Diana Veerland. There was like a DVD on her. She was like, I'll tell you guys some backstory.
She was an editor.
She was the editor of Vogue, like not to get old fashioned and things, you know. She was the editor of Vogue before In a Winter, if I'm not mistaken. But there was this documentary, and in the documentary, she said the eye has to travel. And like I saw that documentary, like years back, I saw it somewhere over there, like I don't know, that little, you know, GL, that theater over there by West 4, like it's in the cut going towards SOBs. So I saw it there, that independent theater, and it was like this documentary about her. And I never forgot what she said, that eye has to travel. And it was during this scene that she was like paying all this money for this guy to go all the way to Alaska to shoot these pictures. And at the time, when she was doing that, it was unheard of. It was like, why you're going all the way over there to do that? It was like she was breaking the mold of like how to do things, whether it's excessive or not. I think the idea behind that, you know, I think is also like something that we always say, like we want to be able to take people places, like with the imagery that we create and the visuals that we create. We want to like show that there's other spaces where things like this are happening. It's not just like these spaces that we know as like the hubs of culture and fashion and art and progressive shit, right? There's like this world of things happening all over the place. And I think the internet is allowing us to kind of leverage that and be able to have these conversations just like at the same level as like folks that are in these places that are known for these things, right? So that's where a lot of the visuals, like that's kind of like the motivation behind them. It's like, hey, we want to also show this perspective. We want to say this narrative is also important. You know, it's not just that narrative. Also, this one is super important. So, yeah, the eye has to travel. We have to make sure that like, if we like bombard you with something in your newsfeed, like it's like worth looking at. Like you're like, at least you say, wow, like where the fuck are these people? You know, kind of thing. I think that that's also like a good thing for us. Like, because then it also makes you question the work, like, oh, what's happening? You know, how is this made? So yeah.
What would you say are like some of the biggest challenges you all face now as a studio and growing to like where you want to go next?
The biggest challenges, you know, I think now for us, I would say, and then Miss Stephanie can add, like, I'll add like one that's right in my head all the time. It's like kind of like finding, like building a team of, because this stuff is being made, right? Like there's a certain skill, there's like a labor that goes behind it. So kind of like,
it's not the traditional way of
doing
it.
Exactly. So you got to train. So it's like finding people like that are as invested in like making things, are as invested in the message behind it, and that want to kind of learn and grow with us. Like that's super important for us because everybody we have is like, you know, we're not working with like our studio, we're not working with the guy who has 50 years experience or like 30 years experience. We're not working with like Italian or like, you know, I don't know, these places that have all this years of craftsmanship. It's us, like just us making these patterns, working with our friends that we now hire, and we're working with them to do things, right? Like down to from the photographer to the person who's shooting, everyone is kind of like just our community, right? Of talented people. So just being able to do that, right? To really do that, because right now it's cool, but then if it starts to get something where like we want to like show more people that they have access to this thing that we do, like how do we do it if we don't have the people that can actually help us get it done, you know? So that's kind of like our thing, like training, building like some type of system behind it, and still keeping it fun at the same time.
Yeah, and I would say that that's definitely a big challenge for us. And then also, as we grow, still being able to keep the essence of experimentation and what can become. I feel like now that, you know, we're growing and people are knowing more about us and we're getting orders in, we do have people that come in for customs and allow us to do something different, or maybe an idea that we didn't have like a moment to execute, and now we can. But definitely that the materials that we store, because we don't throw anything out, being able to like have a time to do that in the midst of like fulfilling orders. I would definitely say that that's one of our challenges that we're trying to balance out. And that also comes with just, you know, our team growing and being able to have a department that does that, you know.
Yeah, does anyone else here have any questions? Otherwise I can keep going.
Let me see what else I got here. Yeah,
Yano, what's up? Oh no.
Oh.
Aribola, go first. Since Yana, you already went.
So my question is, what do you want this to go? What markets are you looking forward to? Are you trying to go luxury, or trying to like open into like a house or collaborate with a established fashion house, or where do you want this to go next?
It's a good question. I don't know. I mean, we're kind of hesitant to kind of like go too fast. So we're really just right now trying to like hone in on what we actually are offering and do it the best way we can, which is just being able to like meet our orders, and people really want that cool skirt and they want it in like that specific color. And this girl that asked me to put pockets in the back, like I just want to make sure that I can deliver the best I can with that and like do it on time, right? I think that's like first and foremost. If we can do that, and I think like being able to kind of like reach more people and grow this idea, like it's something that happens naturally. We've been doing this like since 2017, and like it's been a long time coming. I had a lot of internships like coming up and all this stuff, and I think about like how long I've been trying to like actually make a garment, and how long it takes to go from like an idea to kind of like something that actually is happening. It sometimes takes a while. And when it happens, you kind of like, oh, I'm doing this thing now. But then you realize like, damn, I've been doing this thing for like 10 years, kind of like figuring out like all these little things, whether it be internship, got this job, learned this new skill. So I think with us, it's just like taking our time so like we can do this for a very long time, right? So we're trying to like take our time, do it right, so that we can like just do it right, and it be something that, you know, maybe be something that's like a family thing we can give to our kids, or, you know what I'm saying, other people can kind of join this thing. So I think definitely like I think the goal is to be able to like have something for like everyone and expand into other things, whether it be like home stuff and like things like that that are also made out of like fabrics and garments. So it's like, I think the potential for what this could be is like, it can go in so many directions, because there's so many things that are made out of garments, and there's so many things that you can upcycle to make, you know, something. So I think we're not like just limited to, I think, clothing. So let's see where it goes. But right now, I think it's just trying to do this the best we can, bro. You know?
That's dope.
I would say the goal is not to mass market.
Yeah.
I would say something that we really appreciate is that we do custom made.
Yeah.
So it's a very one-on-one basis. It's a very like personalized process. You know, if you want a pair of pants, you're going to be part of that. And I think like changing the trajectory of what fashion looks like and what it can be. Like there's people asking us about wholesale. There's people reaching out to us about, you know, carrying like more than one thing at the same time. Like, so that is that is a route that we can go. But right now, it's just really building out what a custom business looks like and what it looks like to not mass market something and to like be able to make these unique pieces. Like, for example, us being in DR, and that could be anywhere we decide to have our studio. People have the ability to come to our studio and bring jeans. For example, that jacket that you saw, that it was all those jeans. The artist that we were working with, she brought those jeans that she didn't want anymore, and she turned it into a jacket.
Yeah.
So being able to, you know, look in your closet and say, I don't wear these anymore, but I don't want to get rid of them because I like the texture, I like the fabric, I would like to do something else. You don't really, you can go to a tailor, you can go to a local tailor and do that if you want. But chances are like the A to Z process of that will be a little bit more difficult. And I think like that's like trying to innovate like what fashion is and can be, I think is more like the route that we're going in. Like to be in a fashion house would be cool. We would consider it. We would love to have our own fashion house. We would love to like allow this to grow. So
I think that's awesome. Also, at Ebola, I just graduated from Amherst College. No. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I'm at Ebola. I just graduated from Amherst College, and I'm just back home in Chicago. But I also think, like, I'm not sure if you've done any like exclusive collections, not even to buy, just to maybe a cohesive theme or something like that. I would have to do like more snooping on your Instagram page and website, but yeah, I think that may be cool as well. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Do collections, you said?
Or like an exclusive collection, like where
like
it's like centered around, where it's centered around like a certain maybe denim or a certain like aspect that you, because like everything is connected by sustainability, but I guess even going more specific into like specific collections centered around maybe a certain theme or silhouette or
like
you
that.
know maybe channeling avant-gardism or you know streetwear in terms of like what you're putting out.
You're hired, bro. You're hired.
Oh, I'm down. I'm actually gonna be traveling a bit, but I'm definitely down. I'm definitely down to work. Next time in New York, I'm not sure when you guys are gonna be in New York, but I'm down to work. So
yeah, we're gonna send everybody the links so you guys can show up, and maybe we'll send out a blast for people to help us too, you know, because we need some help and see. If
I'll connect everybody after this also. But Audrey, why don't you go next?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Audrey. I'm from Virginia. I do a lot of sustainability work at my college. And you know, one of the biggest things that I have done a lot at school and just am very interested in is like making sustainability accessible while also like maintaining the integrity of charging enough and, you know, running your business and doing all of that, because it's really hard because you want to sustain, you know, like labor and livable wages for all of the hard work that you're doing, but also not excluding, you know, different demographics from being able to purchase your materials. So like, how do you balance that as a company that's so passionate about all of these different things? And like, what do you do to deal with that and, you know, bring all these different people into the work that you're doing?
It's very hard because there's a labor that goes into it, right? And for example, like, you know, we've been very accustomed to something that's not real, which is like this idea of going somewhere and buying very cheap clothing. So to tell someone, hey, you know, like it can't be, that's not the price that has, even if it's the most basic price, it's not the price, you know, that's, you know, we're not making 1,000 of this one piece. So it automatically changes, and it's just more labor goes into it just because of the method that we use to make the clothing. So it's difficult. I think we have since we're very approachable and we do a custom basis thing, like we never like shut the door on anybody, right? So if you come to us and you say, hey, like I'm interested in making this custom piece, and you say to us, you know, this is my budget, we can talk to you and be like, hey, you know what, with this, we can actually do this, or hey, how about you come back and let's put this down on this, and then let's figure out how to do that, because that's actually, you know, if you don't want to like change the design a little bit so it can fit within what you want, like maybe we can do it like in a few weeks or something. I don't know. Like we never shut the door down, and I think our prices, we kind of keep them at a place that like they're not they're not H&M prices because they can't be, right? But they're like at a price that we feel like are approachable enough for someone to say like, oh, I can get those, right? But it's still respecting the fact that, you know, we took 4 days just to take apart the fabric and another 4 days to make the garment or whatever it may be. So those things we take into we keep into consideration, but I feel like it's very hard because sometimes you never know, right? No, we don't have this thing where people are telling us, hey, that's a great price, right? We just know whether they buy or not, like whether someone is interested in something and it's selling or not. No one's really dropping like a thing saying, hey, your prices are too expensive. We've never heard that before. And we've never heard anybody say your prices are too cheap. Well, we kind of heard that sometimes.
Definitely.
Sometimes we've heard that. But meaning that it's very hard, right? Because I always think about, can my friend buy this? Can my sister buy this? Like I try to think like that, you know, and I'm like, so it's very difficult because like you said, it's a labor that you're doing. So much work goes into it. Like I said, like we've been accustomed to like a lie. We really have to understand that there's people behind the clothes that are being made, that we're wearing. You know, a blazer can't cost $25 retail price. Doesn't make sense. I think, you know, we have to just kind of change the way we think about it. Like there's pieces that you need that are core pieces in your closet. You should invest in those pieces, have them for 10 years kind of thing. I don't know. It's just so many things that we can do that are very different because like a good blazer, for example, every man needs a good blazer because he's going to be asked to go somewhere that he needs a blazer. Like buying a good quality one and keeping it in your closet is a better investment than buying a bunch of them that you're going to throw away. I personally think, you know? So things like that, you know, but.
And I think what helps too is that when people can be involved in the process of what the piece ends up looking like, there's a different sort of attachment. Like we've had people all the time tell us like, oh my gosh, I love this piece. It fits me so perfect. I love it. It's exactly what I wanted. I'm never going to get rid of it. Like, that's the point, you know, like us kind of being like, hey, come be a part of this process. So then you can actually keep this piece and like feel connected to it rather than just going to a rack, seeing 50 of one, like 30 of one thing, taking it and then saying, oh, I'm over it. This is not on trend. You gotta go. You know, it's different because you're going to be investing into something that may be timeless and you feel connected to. So that definitely helps the process too. And
I get it. We all want to be fresh. I get it. You know, it's hard. It's so hard not to like, what? It's so hard. Every time we go to the market, we always bring stuff back for ourselves. So we get it. We're also, you know, we're also part of it. But we just come from this. We thrifted. We were big on fashion, so we're right in our environment. We still thrift very much. I believe in thrifting. You know, we hardly, you know, we thrift clothes and then we deconstruct the clothes we thrift into other stuff. So it's kind of like, you know, the wave right now because it's just more interesting also for us. You know, I don't know if you guys feel the same, but it's just. Things are more interesting, things are more special. Sometimes you find these pieces that you really feel connected to just because you went through the search and you fought the old lady that kind of let it go last minute or something. And you grabbed it, you know, and you're like, yeah, I got that. Like, like sometimes we go to the market and we have to, or Stephanie will have to like fight with the old ladies when she finds these pieces that are really interesting because they'll just be grabbing it and like, you know, it's like a real thing. So, so yeah, we're just having fun with like the things that we like. And luckily, some people connect to it, and it's slowly but surely is like growing into something that you guys are interested in hearing about, right?
Yeah. So I know it's like 9 o'clock, so if some of y'all need to hop off, feel free to. But and Steph, as long as you're willing to go a little bit longer, I'd love to ask you a couple more questions.
Yeah, I guess we can. Yeah, we can do that.
One thing that I've always been really, really impressed about is like conversations around your creative inspirations and your references. Can you kind of dig a little or share a little bit more information about your creative inspirations individually and, you know, what you're sort of referencing as sometimes you're building some of these pieces?
References.
And you can go as far back as like, you know, I think inspiration is almost iterative in the way that, you know, the more information or experiences you have, it starts to build on each other and you're inspired by different things, but how that's sort of evolved over time and, you know, where you sort of look to for some of that information.
Yeah, I think I was just telling Stephanie, like, maybe we have like two different types of like, I guess, references and inspirations that we look at. Cause like when we get it, like, for example, we made a skirt. It was a very long skirt. Like it's one of like something super popular that people are like that we made. We can show you guys. Well, I think this is the skirt here. Right? This is the skirt, but it's like an adjustable skirt, right? It has these drawstrings on the side, has this this tachon. Tachon is, I don't know how to say it in English, but has this dart in the back. Or
It's
whatnot.
not the bustle thing.
The bustle, like a bustle type thing, and these gathers at the bottom. It's a beautiful skirt. And we make it out of men's trousers. So we take men's trousers and turn it into like a woman's like cargo skirt with cargo pockets. Hold on.
Going back to inspiration.
So then like, okay, so then inspiration, it's always like, someone will ask us, hey, do you make this? Would you be interested in making such and such piece, but would you add this to it? So there's this part of like what we do that's very like connected to like the customer, the client, the person who wants the piece. So they will send us inspiration and we collaborate with them on this piece based on what we know, right? That's one way that we do things, right? Another way that like we do things and like what kind of inspires us is like really much our environment, like the streets, the sounds, like Dominican Republic can be like very chaotic, very informal, very fast. You know, it's like a developing country. So all these things are happening, the colors, the houses, like it's Caribbean, like the weather, people, there's very odd things that you see here. I can't explain, like, it's just like odd, like really odd things. Like the guy who's walking in the street with this basket in his head and he's selling like coconuts, but he's with with a boombox walking and hearing this music. He's walking down the middle of the street and you're kind of like, what am I looking at right now, right? Like these things that are very like, so much a part of like the Caribbean and the energy of the people. That's kind of like what goes into like what we're doing. Like, that's why our visuals are like the way they are. They're like in your face. They're like, you know, we're not trying to like shoot the prettiest thing. We're trying to shoot what we really are seeing on an everyday basis. So a lot of the inspiration just comes directly from like the streets, like Santo Domingo, like where we're based, right? A lot of what you guys are seeing on Instagram and stuff like that is being like really pushed by that. Even like down to the khaki. Like we're working with khaki because it's something that we see all the time. Like the kids pass by here with all their uniforms and they're all wearing like khaki and blue shirts, shirting and khaki. So that's part of like what we do because it's like part of the environment. Also, like I'll show you guys these hats. And then Stephanie can talk about some other inspirations with the videos and stuff like that. But these hats, for example, right? These hats are traditionally like the pleated materials traditionally used in a shirt that's called like guayabera or chacabana. And it has these stripes down the middle in like a solid color, whether it be black, blue, red, whatever the color of the shirt is. And basically what we're doing is taking those strips and creating like something else with it. But every time like this hat is made and worn, it's like a piece of the island because these strips are very particular to the Caribbean. Like I've never seen these pleats anywhere else. They're used specifically for these shirts. So we started to make bags and hats out of these things. So it's like the inspiration is very much like our environment. We're just kind of doing it in a very subtle way where it can also be communicated like outside of here, and it could just be like a beautiful pleated hat, right? It could be a beautiful skirt, but the subtleties and the inspirations behind the skirt are very much part of like what we see on an everyday basis. It's kind of like saying we're here, we can do it from here, and it can kind of leave from here and still be something that is special to people. It doesn't have to just be, you know, this thing that is like it only lives on the island. It can also live outside of the island, right? So that's kind of like the idea behind the clothing and the inspiration behind a lot of it.
And a lot of old books too, I feel like are super important. Like the skirt actually came from an old pattern that like an old vintage pattern that we found in New York in like a discount store?
A dollar store. We found like a pattern.
And then it was totally different. It wasn't even a skirt. It was like like a top jacket, and then we
dress.
were like, oh, let's turn it into a skirt. So a lot of the things do come from like old like design books too, because Edgar will geek and like look online for things and find like old books or PDF of things that like don't even exist anymore.
Oh, people are leaving.
But yeah, so that's like one of our inspirations as well. And just like you said, the streets, the colors, the layers, the sound, what people wear also is something, because it's like we'll see something, a detail, like just what people wear. It's like so interesting because sometimes they'll have sayings on t-shirts that you're like, what is that? But that will be an idea for something else. So it's really just being aware of our environment and just constantly just being inspired by it and allowing that to like flow through our work as well.
It's amazing. I guess as we go, do you have one ask for the remaining people on the chat?
We have an ask, you said?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have an ask. You have an ask. Just, I guess it's just, if I have one ask, I guess it's kind of, I don't know, maybe it's kind of petty, kind of corny, but I should say like, really think about what it is you're passionate about. You know, like what is really moving you, and like ask yourself these really like important questions about like what kind of impact you want to make in like in the people around you and in the world in which you live in. It doesn't, you don't even have to take this on to like the whole world, just like the world you live in, like your immediate, like what kind of impact do you want to leave? Like,
given the present state of the world, like what is the impact?
Yeah, like what kind of impact you want to leave, and like what is the consequences of all your actions, right?
Because we're here in a very important time. We're here on Earth for a very important time.
So kind of that, I think that's the only ask. Like, I think if you can be very responsible about that, like I think a lot of things could be handled right. Like if you ask yourself, like, why am I doing this? Like, is this what I really want to do? Is this something that's aiding like the world and me, like for the future? I think those are very basic questions. That's the only ask. I know GL's like, ask to go to your event. I'm like, you guys can come to the event as well, but I think the ask that I can leave you guys with that is that just be passionate about something and just make sure that something is something that connects to you and what you really feel like you can do.
True to you.
Stay true to like, you know, that thing, you guys all know what that thing is.
Yeah, and a lot of you are involved in sustainability and all of that. And I know it's like a process being an entrepreneur and being an artist. So, you know, the door's always open. We can leave our email.
Yes, let's connect.
Instagram, and you can always reach out to us.
Always. It's not just, we're not just saying that either. You can really reach out. Like, we're really that cool. So just no problem, reach out, GL, connect us. And if we can help in any way, let us know. We're always super positive. So, you know, I think that's it, GL.
I love both of you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.